The artist I've chosen to share with you today is Keith Haring. So come with me as we take a closer look into the life and artwork of this iconic artist. Haring was born on May 4th, 1958, in Reading, Pennsylvania. This piece of his work, titled Radiant Baby, is one of his most famous. He was raised in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, where he, at a very young age, developed a love for drawing. Haring learned his beginning cartooning skills from his father and from pop culture references such as Walt Disney and Dr. Seuss. After graduating from high school in 1976, Haring started schooling at the Ivy School of Professional Art in Pittsburgh, where he remained for only 2 semesters before dropping out. While still in Pittsburgh, however, he continued to study and work on his art, and in 1978 had his first solo show at the Pittsburgh Arts and Crafts Center. Later that year, Haring moved to New York City and began attending the School of Visual Arts. Then, like a storm rolling in, Haring developed himself as an admired artist. He began by making art outside the galleries and museums. Instead, he did his drawings in the downtown streets, subways, and clubs. The subway became, as Keith put it, a laboratory for working out his ideas. Between 1980 and 1985, Haring produced hundreds of these public drawings, sometimes creating as many as 40 subway drawings a day. Haring has also enjoyed accomplishments such as creating a mural for the 100th anniversary for the Statue of Liberty. He created a mural on the western side of the Berlin Wall 3 years before its fall, and he is also responsible for what is now known as a landmark of New York's FDR Drive. Created in 1986, Crack is Whack is now one of the most famous murals in the world. Keith had many contemporaries and friends that inspired his work. To name just a few, he was known to hang with the likes of William Burroughs, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Madonna, and Andy Warhol. From these friendships, much inspiration was gained for Haring. Specifically, he began a series of works with the character Andy Mouse. But, also because of these influences, Haring was determined to devote his career to creating truly public art. He even designed costumes for vocal artists such as Grace Slick and full body paint on Grace Jones. Between 1980 and 1989, Haring gained international recognition. He was featured in over 100 exhibitions and was the subject of many magazine and newspaper articles. His art ranged from simple works based on the primacy of line to murals and even to the multiple sculptures he did. In April 1986, he opened the Pop Shop, a retail store in Soho, and because he considered it to be an extension of his work, he painted the entire interior of the store. Although the Pop Shop was criticized by many, Haring remained devoted to making his artwork affordable and available to as wide an audience as possible. The Pop Shop still remains today. To put it modestly, Keith Haring did a ton in the decade he produced works. But it was not for nothing. Haring was diagnosed with AIDS in 1988. He developed the Keith Haring Foundation in 1989, and during the last years of his life, dedicated much of his work to generate activism and awareness about AIDS and safe sex. Unfortunately for us, all who get to admire his work, Keith Haring died of AIDS-related complications on February 16, 1990, at the very young age of 31. And, although his career lasted merely a decade, the staying power of his imagery has become a universally recognized visual language of the 20th century.